straight to 1968. You know, Israel destroyed Vickers VC-10 aircraft because they went chasing the Palestinian Liberation Front. So they destroyed about 14 aircraft, including a Ghana Airways aircraft. It brought a lot of tension. So I was like, oh, these people again? Because that matter of the aircraft from 68, it's caused a lot of tension between us. Then from 68, based on what was happening to the Palestinians, for about 40 years, we had no relationship with them. Yeah, the diplomatic mission was closed until about 2011. So one would have thought that they would learn something from it.
So this was an accidental
strike. Everybody, we've been going
Israel
to...
that bombed?
No, we've been going to...
It's Hezbollah, there's a...
Exactly.
So,
the facts are important.
Look at the statement that the
so you know the Ghana forces. I read it.
Please,
so
put it on.
So that it says, this is it. Quick one. This is where there's a fallout. This they describe it as a fallout of the current ongoing IDF and Hezbollah exchanges.
And where are we? We are that place that was bombed. It's in Lebanon. You are saying that Hezbollah turned and bombed us in Lebanon.
I just want us
Israel is at the other end.
Yeah.
So presumably the things came from that side.
No. It says exchanges.
Yes.
Meaning it won't come from just one faction.
Yeah, but we are not part, and we've got it. Hezbollah, where we are, is nearer Hezbollah. We are in Lebanon, doing peacekeeping. Hezbollah is also in Lebanon. Then Israel is at the other side. Then they throw their bombs.
This is a deduction from what you understand from
it's a reasonable inference.
Oh, very.
My point is,
it's them.
In these things, we have to establish
the details.
The facts, that's one. And two, the next thing you need to establish is animus. Okay, was Israel targeting Ghana? All right, they were targeting Lebanon. We happen to be in the crossfire. We are what is called collateral damage in war. Okay, now all that said, for me, what we need to appreciate is that when these things happen, there is an effect on us. I was having a discussion with somebody and I was telling the person that what we should be doing right now is thinking through how we will survive this war in terms of how it will affect our economy.
Even those of us sitting here.
All right? So, I mean, whenever there is war, the world is so linked now that you can't really excuse yourself. The Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed. Okay? Now we have to figure out what to do in terms of getting fuel supplies and making sure that they remain at a certain price. The government has worked hard to bring us to a certain point. The whole world is experiencing those instabilities. Is there anything going on? This is why we have governments, and you hope that there are serious meetings being held about these things. Because in that discussion I was having, I said, well, if it's me, I would figure out how we can start refining our crude. Okay, because the refinery supposedly is working. We have,
in fact, we're going to it's a forward-looking. It's part of the second part of this conversation.
Yeah. So my point is, it's really unfortunate, but look, the difficult fact about this is that this is what war is like, and when you're a soldier, this is what you sign up for. The other side of things is Ghana has been involved in peacekeeping for decades. Some people even believe that a lot of the soldiers and even police people look forward to peacekeeping because it is lucrative. Okay? Question is, what have we gained from it? Apart from maybe are people going and making money? Have we done anything interesting with it? It seems to be always a safe thing. You go, you come back, there's no problem. But this is always in the picture. There is always a potential that some of these things are going to happen. And especially where a war starts, okay, we need to appreciate that our men and women are in harm's way, and we need to reevaluate whether we should continue doing this and all the things that come with, being in this kind of situation, so that we are not always taken aback. It's absolutely unfortunate, and my heart goes out to the people, the men and women who are there. If your family member is there, you will know what it means, the sleepless night you are going to have. And whatever it is, look, at the end of the day, we should all try and work towards a world without conflict, or with the least conflict possible. Yes. I am going towards the point of who caused all of this, okay? And for me, whatever influence we have on the Americans, we should bring it to bear. We have none, actually. But whatever influence we have, we should bring it to bear. And I recently heard somebody talk about pressure against our government to do something about our cocoa royalties, etc.
That's the gold royalties.
No, gold royalties, yeah. You know, these are little things, but that constitutes the pressures that we have.
Right.
Many of us have, you know, been unhappy with the moves that America and especially President Trump has been making. Okay, and it seems far away, but this is how it all plays out. And now our men are under fire. So it's unfortunate, but we should use the opportunity to reevaluate, seriously reevaluate our participation in some of these things.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Normally, I've got a very quick one. Yes.
You see, first and foremost, my heart goes to all people who suffer as a result of war, not only in Ghana, but even the places where we have the war, because most of the citizenry in those countries, they are not part of the confusion and the war per se. They are at the receiving end of the people who are flexing their muscles. So I am very sad when I see children, women, non-military people facing such a challenge. It is very unfortunate. So I'm not only talking about people who are suffering in Ghana, and for that matter, our troops in Lebanon, but I'm also talking about every person who will suffer as a result of war of any kind. And sometimes I want to believe that the international organization, what are we doing? Particularly the United Nations. I mean, these are some of the reasons that people put themselves together to form associations to ensure world peace. But if world peace is always challenged like that, I want to believe that the various organizations are not working effectively as they should. I mean, why should we have even war in the first place if we have agreed to form an association of states where we will take care of each other and ensure that humanity is always protected? What is failing? And how do we reinforce that belief that we must live in a peaceful world? So it is not only a failure of one state against the other or a complaint of one state against the other, but I see it more as a failure of a world order, and that we are beginning to be personal in our pursuit of world peace. And sometimes it baffles me when I see that the conversation is reduced to conflict or tension between two states. It's a global phenomenon that needs a global attention, and I think that is the more reason why the world formed the United Nations to ensure that we live in peace. So, for me, when we address the global issues, then we zero in on the national. In Ghana, this will have a very devastating effect on everything Ghanaian, not only to talk about the economy, health, infrastructure, everything. You see, we're going to experience natural disturbance in the total environment, and we will be at the receiving end as well. And if you put together all the challenges we will face during and after the war, the question you ask is it justified? Why did we even get there after all? And is it the case that we are failing in our agreements in the international organizations? How do we reinforce it? How do we make more commitment to the expectations of the general world? So it's quite unfortunate, but it needs to be looked at from the global perspective.
And I thank you. I thank you very much for this as well. Very, very important comments, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And we'll keep tabs on this. If there's some more updates from the Ghana Armed Forces, we would let you know. But this is the key point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, and Voice of London television as well. And then also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Quite a number of radio stations across the country. And we're getting to the poll tracker proper. still linked to what we have just talked about with the U.S., Israel, Iran war that started exactly a week ago on the show, and then we got to hear of it. Apart from the humanitarian effect or the impact it's had on us and our troops in Lebanon, whenever such wars are happening, thousands of miles away from us, it has an impact on our economy in various ways. We've seen the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war and its impact that it had on our economy. Now we're talking about this. In fact, sometime last year, we had an idea of what was going to happen this year. Anybody who watched closely how the initial war between Israel, the U.S., and Iran last year would not be surprised about what's happening now, because there was really no conclusion to that particular conflict. And now we are seeing it play out before our eyes. And the impact that it could possibly have is, if this war is prolonged, is what we're going to be talking about on the poll tracker. And over the last 1 week, there's been assurances from the National Petroleum Authority especially. Why? Because this war has a direct impact on crude oil supply globally. The Strait of Hormuz, which has over 22 million barrels of crude oil passing through that particular area, that small area, a day. 22 million barrels of crude oil a day goes through that area where you see that yellow spot. And because of this conflict, there's no activity happening. How much of the reserves do we have as a country to cushion us for as long as this war will last? And then also, what are the alternative measures? Mr. Bentil has just referenced that quite briefly, but we're going to get into the details of it. But this is where the whole world is looking at, that small spot, the Strait of Hormuz. 22 million barrels of crude oil per day going through that area. Now, here's the blueprint and what is happening now globally. And this is it. And we're going straight into how the issues are playing out. The crude oil prices have risen, at least over the last 1 week. For the most part of the year, we were hovering between $62 and $67 per barrel. And that has a direct impact on us, because there are three factors that influences the pricing of petroleum products at the pumps here in Ghana. One, we're talking about the price of crude oil on the world market, which you are seeing right now. Two, the taxes and levies on our pricing structure. And then three, the currency differentials. That's how the cedi is faring against the dollar. We've seen the cedi hold its own against the dollar and other trading currencies quite strongly. So yes, there's some positivity in there. The taxes and levies haven't changed. So the only movement we are seeing right now, per the impact that all the factors taken into consideration in the pricing of the petroleum products have, is what is happening on the world market. Now, crude oil is trading at $92.07 per barrel. $92.07 per barrel. And this is it. This is how the big picture looks like right now. Here's where we get our refined petroleum imports from. Remember, Ghana, until recently, we didn't have the Tamale refinery on stream. So the Tamale refinery coming on stream has changed the narrative about the conversation as to what the next phase will be. But for the most part of this period, we did not have the Tamale refinery on stream. So even though we produce crude, we import finished products. And that's why you have the bulk oil distribution companies also having their own work to do. This is it. 20% of our direct imports comes from UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and all these other areas that have also been directly impacted by this war. So that's how the picture looks like. Beyond that, the National Petroleum Authority has given us this assurance. As of Thursday, this is information exclusively from the National Petroleum Authority. As of Thursday, we had a little over 5 weeks of cover in terms of petrol. That if anything should happen at all right now, we have for the next 5 weeks petrol, almost 8 weeks of diesel for the next period. That is what we do know, almost 8 weeks of diesel. And talking about the National Petroleum Authority, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority is here with us. He's a private legal practitioner as well, Godwin Tamaklo. Mr. Tamaklo, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers are loyal.
Indeed.
You know, they have remained extremely loyal to this platform, and they have positioned the platform so well.
That's right.
And they deserve the commendation.
Indeed.
And so I think it's proper that I do that. And also, today I have 3 of my seniors here. So, as usual, I hope that Kofi Bentil will not intimidate me on this platform.
Does this one look like it can be
You see, in court, that's what the seniors do. When they come, they will mention their name, and then the judge will say seniority at the bar. So you move your application first, you know.
It's only the application that you move.
Yes.
right.
As for substantive
And
matters,
you say, when were you called to the bar?
exactly, you know, and that's where the intimidation starts. You know, they'll ask you. No, they will ask you, were you in Kumado's class? You know,
Exactly.
so you will see that, you know. So once again, I want to say a good morning.
Have you forgotten the Mputo approach?
Yes. As for Prof. Kumado, you remember, tort and constitutional law. Once he gives you the question and you are all over the place, he said that's the important approach. You know, you miss everything, you know. So once again, a good morning to my distinguished seniors here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This is what you're saying now is a reflection of the fact, is it not? That we have a little over 5 weeks of petrol. That is as of Thursday.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, moving on. I want us to get a bit more detail into why this is extremely important. Because in terms of our consumption, monthly consumption of petrol and diesel, in liters, we have almost 300 million liters of petrol that we consume on a monthly basis. This is also according to the National Petroleum Authority.
Yeah.
Almost 300 million barrels. Sorry, 300 million liters of petrol and almost 250 million liters of diesel that we consume on a monthly basis. I'm doing all of this to give you a clear picture of the reserve, how much it would last, and then also the other measures that have been put in place to ensure that we actually stay afloat. But these are the top contributors in terms of the pricing of petroleum products at the pumps. The ex-refinery price, taxes and levies, crude oil price on the world market as well, and then you have the BDC's margin. So you understand, when you go to the pumps to buy fuel, this is what goes into the pricing. What we have seen over time is the continuous escalation of the forces that is costing all of this, the impact on the choke point, that is the Strait of Hormuz, as I referenced earlier, and how critical this particular area is to when it comes to crude oil supply globally. Now, if you look at how this is impacting us as a country, this is it. You should understand. This direct impact, we are not immune to it at all if this continues. But for good reason. Let me start this conversation with lawyer Godwin Tamaklo, because this directly falls on your lap. We don't know when this war is going to end. We have, for now, a little over 5 weeks of petrol and then 7 weeks of diesel.
Days or weeks?
Weeks. So if this continues, even beyond this period,